Hey lords and ladies, welcome back to Scarlet Hollow, the Darkest Timeline. Now, it's been a little bit of a while since I continued this series of the Darkest Timeline Scarlet Hollow. For a number of reasons, partly because I wanted to try and, when I do the Darkest Timeline, it was trying to find all the different alternatives. And episode 4 has a lot of branching paths which have various outcomes. So it was pretty hard to decide which one's the darkest, to be honest. Plus I'd put the game down for a little bit to do other things. So normally what I would do is I'd run through with a bunch of other characters before doing this. But I just want to basically do this update to the series for the Darkest Timeline now. Plus, they've also released, as you can see here, a new mode called Hardcore Mode. Hardcore Mode is unlocked for you who don't know. You unlock it by basically completing all 4 chapters, or 4 current chapters of Scarlet Hollow. If you've already done that, just load up your last save and watch through the credits at the end of episode 4. And Hardcore Mode basically unlocks. Hardcore Mode it changes the gameplay a bit. So rather than having 2 traits, you have 3, which allows you to have a lot more dialogue options. It also allows you to do a lot of achievement hunting, I find. I predominantly use Hardcore Mode for achievement hunting, especially for certain achievements that need certain combinations. It's a useful way of doing it like that. The downside of Hardcore Mode is that it is basically the Darkest Timeline, for lack of a better word, which is kind of a shame for me. So I was going for the Darkest Timeline on my own merit. Now you can just get it by playing Hardcore Mode. Though that may change the longer the game goes on, because my interpretation of the Darkest Timeline might be different to how Hardcore Mode works. But for lack of a better word, you can't save anyone. You always get the worst possible outcomes for decision making in the game. So I won't spoil it for those of you who haven't played the game yet. Though if you're at this point in the Darkest Timeline series, then I suggest that you really go back and watch the first few episodes to see what I mean. But well, spoilers, I suppose. Like for example, a good example is that at the end of episode 1, you can decide who basically lives or who dies. In the Hardcore Mode of Scarlet Hollow, you always get the person gets killed. I believe that is a good example. The character in question always gets killed no matter what. Which is an interesting take in it. It basically gives you a very dark outcome always. But well, I'm trying to do it with only with Kerry and her 2 traits. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get a similar result. I mean, Hardcore Mode looks very nice, but to be honest, I haven't really used it at all. I can see its applications per se for achievement hunting, though. There's certain achievements in the game which require certain character trait combinations. And as someone who has done achievement hunting in this game, let me tell you, having a certain character trait and having to go through 4 episodes with it just to get to a particular scene can be very tiring. But hey ho, we're going to jump into Scarlet Hollow. What I'll do is we'll go through the recap. The recap's going to really be a little bit long, so if you want to skip the recap, I'll put a timestamp in the description below, showing where you can basically skip to, or you can skip, or basically just press on the time bar at the bottom to where you want to go and skip to that point where you basically get out of the recap. And I shall see you all in a second. Also, for those of you who are new and wondering why you can't see my mouse on screen, for some reason I've never been able to figure out, due to an update they did, I suffer like a lot of frame rate loss once we get into the main game. And I've never been able to basically tweak my recording software not to have stuttering. So having a mouse stuttering around the screen is unpleasant to look at, so I've turned the mouse off. So we'll just see you all in a second. Welcome back, folks. Now, this is at the end of chapter 3, and well, let's dive in. As I said, I'll put a timestamp in the description below, and they'll be on the time bar as well. So this is so where you can skip forward to the start of episode 4. We'll do the recap now. Let's continue. The adventure of Kerry and her misadventures in the Hollow. So we can do a full recap, or we can just do a recap for episode 3. Let's do a full recap. It takes a bit of time, to be honest, but it's always a good way to catch people up to speed. Your long-lost cousin, the bad news, 26 hours bus rides with countless late-night stops and seedy depots would have felt unsafe even in the middle of the day. You wouldn't only find yourself travelling like this, but your cousin brought the tickets. The funeral of Paulina Scarlet, your cousin's mother, and your aunt seemed like something you shouldn't ignore, even considering your own late mother's rocky relationship with this side of the family. Welcome to our family's humble estate, says your cousin Tabitha. Unfortunately, due to our current state of the house, only a few rooms will be safely accessible during your stay. I wouldn't go wandering anywhere else if you value your limbs. The floors have been known to give out. As the lock falls, the door moans open, revealing the entrance to what must have been an incredibly lavish ballroom. Faintly in the distance you can hear the quiet notes of an old piano playing from another room. A single deer remains behind, staring down the beam of Stella's flashlight, while Gretchen whines and pulls at her harness. The man brandishes the gun. Come on, you, whatever your name is, grab the flashlight and help me line up a good shot. As the creatures in the tree line grow louder and more numerous, Gretchen violently strains against her harness. You dive forward to scoop up Gretchen in your arms, but before she manages to wriggle out of her harness, your eyes fixate on the dark tree line over Duke's shoulder. God damn it, says Duke. From the relative safety of your cousin's uncomfortable guest bed, the events of the past evening seem like something that happened to someone else. Well, you can still clearly picture the terror you felt in those moments. For now, you are safe and you are warm. So, as you can see here, folks, we had the outcome where Duke died at the end of Chapter 1. In Chapter 2, but listen, you better stay out of trouble today. I want you home by sunset. Don't want to hear complaints, just do what I ask and we won't have any more problems, says Tabitha. Tabitha takes a few steps towards the door. Sunset, she intones softly. Avery, Winnie can fix you some Silby's new blend. Maybe it'll calm you down a bit. I think you'll like today's mix. It's chaga and lemon balm, so it'll help ease your stress and tension, says Silby. And if you feel like talking, I'll be all ears. I see you're a private person, says Silby. I can respect that. You'll never know when someone might respond to hearing the truth of what you encountered last night. Have either of you seen Rosalina around town, says Oscar. I don't want to be a helicopter dad, but she hasn't been answering my texts and I want to make sure she isn't getting into trouble over there. Hey, Dr. Kelly, says Kanika. You were wondering if we'd be okay if Reese could come out, hang out. Nothing strenuous, we promise, Miss Stella. Whatever you two have planned is probably beyond what he can manage right now anyway. Stay away, wait for the week to end, don't keep putting yourself in the path of danger. This is all I ask, says Wayne. And our first real meeting with, well, our thumbnail cover, I should say. The titular Wayne. You're interrupted by sudden movement at the corner of your eye. A girl carrying a bundle of snacks pops through the hole in the fence and disappears over the crest of the hill. She didn't, says Kanika. I guess the old Maxwell place doesn't cut it as a secret hangout spot these days, says Stella. But the Shore Mine? That place was shut down like 100 years ago, after a collapse that killed over 100 people, states Kanika. My dad is a foreman at the continuous mining facility, and he says they only abandoned this mine because there wasn't enough coal left. So it's actually really safe, and we can hang out here whenever we want. My dad says our house is haunted, says Rosalina. Unika is interrupted by a pair of thunderous knocks. Wait a second, weren't there three of you? Wait a second, where'd three of you run off to? Are you kidding me? There's something in the darkness before you that's much louder, though you don't hear it, but you can feel it in your chest like a deep growl of a predator. Hey, are you alright, Carrie? Stella reaches for your soda, but not before the light from your phone illuminates the chamber. Carrie, are you alright? Wait. Becca and Alex are still down there. We can't just leave them here. I know which way they're going. They'll listen to you this time, I promise. The two of you manage to squeeze through the entrance just as the walls of the mine come crashing down. Tabitha doesn't say a word as the car cuts along the dark road. You collapse in Tabitha's dusty guest bed. Your head empty of thoughts after your time in Shore Mine. You barely even notice the dust. And that, folks, is the end of episode 2. We basically made the decision to leave the kids in the mine to save our own necks, basically. Kerry isn't going to risk herself for a bunch of kids that should have known better. When you close your eyes, your thoughts drift to Alex and Becca, terrified and alone, if not already dead. There are two of them now. The possums. As you're ready to leave, Jenny approaches from the far side of the kitchen. Tabitha remains between the two of you, impatiently tapping her foot. Oh, Kerry, before you go, I heard about what happened last night. I heard about it before Miss Tabitha mentioned it just now. And then I heard it again. I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry you got caught up in that. I'll be praying for those poor kids. I can't imagine how scared they must be. Morning. Is the new blend ready? Says Tabitha. Of course, says Sylvie. Kerry, if you'd like to keep Miles company, Tabitha and I will just be a minute. Excuse me, says a large man. Wait, you're Kerry, aren't you? My name's Beau, I'm Duke's boy. It's a pleasure to meet you. Mrs. Forsay called me on the phone and told me you saw what happened to my daddy. We're still denying the fact that the guy died in the woods, by the way. The police can't pin that on us. It's going to be someone else. I'm not going to prison. Kerry's not going to prison. Tabitha stops in front of a small house on the quiet hill just off the main street. Scarlet's own most of the houses out here. You rent them out to employees, just more convenient, you know. Your cousin pulls out a heavy set of keys from her pocket. She picks out one marked with a bright strip of green tape and unlocks the door. Come on in, don't worry, it's empty. Yep, he's a dog. Keen eye, and judging from the series of portraits lining the walls, Tabitha wasn't pulling your leg. Every mayor of Scarlet Hollow in living memory has been a dog. You can tell this dog is the mayor from his little sass and fancy top hat. There's a regal air about him, almost as if he knows the position of authority he's been elected to. Before you can catch up to your companions, you're intercepted by a nervous man with a cross around his neck. Whoever he is, you feel his desperation to make a good first impression, a self-sustained and self-fulfilling prophecy. Sounds like old Gretchen and the mayor have unresolved issues, wouldn't you say, says the strange man? I'm Pastor Daniel. I take it you're Kerry. Everyone's been buzzing about you. I'm so sorry about your aunt, but I'm sure she's in a better place now. If you ever like to discuss your beliefs, my door is always open. The basement is what you might expect out of a tortured artist who spends all his time confined to his studio. Discarded canvases line its edges, whilst trash and sketches leak out from the piles in the corners of the room, hiding the bare cement floor. Ghoulish faces coat the walls in paint, staring out at their creator. Your mum is so scary, says Kanika. She can be a little intense, kind of overprotective, which I guess makes sense. Anyway, make yourself comfortable. You'll have to forgive the mess. I've been distracted lately, haven't been cleaning much. Dinner is already laid out. Dinner rolls, spaghetti and a light salad. Kanika anxiously picks at her food. Stella is nervously talkative, and Reese is suddenly quiet and tense. His shoulders tight as his mother perches on the chair next to his. Dr. Kelly's eyes all of you with a sharp, fierce gaze. So, we were talking about maybe watching a movie sometime this week while Kerry is still in town. We'll have to see how you feel, says Dr. Kelly. I can handle a movie, Doc, says Reese. Yeah, we'll just sit downstairs in the dark. Reese is used to that. I'm sure he'll be okay, says Stella. You always overestimate how much you'll be able to do, Reese. This is why you keep getting sick. If I get sick, so what? It's not like that's ever going to change, says Reese sharply. I'm sick every day. I'm not getting better. I don't want to spend the last few miserable years of my life holding up in the basement alone just because seeing my friends has been deemed too strenuous. I'm an adult, for God's sake. I can't believe I have to ask permission from my mum just to have friends over. Reese stops mid-sentence, wincing in pain and wrapping himself in his arms. Don't say such things. Don't say things like that. I'm doing everything I can to try and fix. Dr. Kelly stops as he looks at him. Silence as Dr. Kelly's eyes shoot open. Reese, says Stella. Reese abruptly pulls himself from the table and leaves. Hey, you're here sooner than I expected. I hope dinner went okay, says Oscar. Whoa, says Stella. This is where I've seen it appear. It appears on top of the stain, says Oscar. Stella pulls back the carpet, revealing a hat on a floor around it stained in reddish brown. I'm going for it, says Stella. Movement stirs. For those of you who don't know what happened, he gets pulled into the basement. Movement stirs as the figure cloaked in shadow rises to attention. Who are you? What are you doing on my property? Before you have a chance to think, another door creaks open on what you thought was the ceiling. There you are. This is quite the maze, isn't it? And absolutely crawling with these miserable little parasites. Bottom feeders. Sins of the father are to be laid upon the children. Forfeit your years, says Kanika, and I will finally leave. A smell hits you, that now familiar wet, unwell odour. What annoying pest you are, but you couldn't keep me out for long. It seems we've exhausted its power. Holding all those bodies hostage must have been quite taxing. Come along, Kerry. It's desperate, but it has no power over you. There's no need to bow to the will of such a frayed and broken consciousness. Leave it to fester. You fall towards the entrance, your legs still unsure of the ground beneath you, and the doors fly open. You're outside, in real time this time. A cool autumn breeze blows small piles of dried leaves across the steps of the library. You made the right choice. It would have been so easy to fall for its tricks. I'm proud that you didn't. Be seeing you, says Wayne. Sorry, I can't talk right now. See you later, says Stella. She hurries off down the road. I'm looking forward to continuing our chat tomorrow once we've had some time to rest, says Sylvie. You don't even notice yourself entering the guest room and falling into bed. Suddenly, you're just there, buried under your family's musty covers. And that's how episode 3 ended, folks. We took the decision not to basically sacrifice years and leave the ghost trapped in the library to be an absolute menace to society. And hopefully eat a few people. That's how I viewed it being the worst ending, to be honest. But we'll see how it goes down the line. So, into episode 4. And this is where, if you've been looking for the time skip button or the timestamp button, this is where we'll kick off. So, let's go. The spirit of Charles Shaw Jr. now commands the entirety of the City Hall, a swirling void of wrath and despair that the people of this town will have to learn to ignore. Disaster looms its tallest yet over Scarlet Hollow. Let us wake up. You open your eyes, it's a new day. Last night seems so far away, you can almost pretend the horrors you witnessed in the annex were nothing but a nightmare chased away by the harsh morning light. But you know that the furious spirit of Charles Saw Jr. yet lingers, locked behind the doors of the town hall, still tied to the earth by its hatred of you and your bloodline. An involuntary shudder runs down your spine, but your thoughts are interrupted by a buzz of your phone on the nightstand. Hope you made it home okay, says Kanika over the line. Haven't heard from Stella since last night, how about you? You check your messages, there's nothing from Stella. So let's see, we can go explore options, which is basically call Stella, text Stella. But Kerry doesn't really care, to be honest. Kerry's quite a selfish person, she's quite self-interested. She's not really inclined to care what happens to Stella. She's not really inclined to care what happens to anybody in Scarlet Hollow. She just really wants to get out. Haven't heard from Eva. I'm sure she's fine. Oh god, what if she's in trouble? So let's see what we've got left. We've got haven't heard from her either. I'm sure she's fine. Oh god, what if she's in trouble? What if she's hurt or dead? Maybe she's just sleeping in. Never mind how Stella is. How are you doing? Everyone had a rough night. She's probably still sicking it off. What if Wayne got her? Does Stella disappear like this sometimes? Let's see. None of them are just sort of flat out don't care. So let's just go with maybe she's just sleeping in. Yeah, that's probably something that you would say if you were basically disinterested. Maybe she's just sleeping in, you say. She's walked off in the opposite direction from our house last night. I don't think I want to bet on that, says Kanika. We should go look for her. Let's meet up in town as soon as we can. Looks like you have your morning plans in order, you mutter quietly to yourself. So, first things first. Let's check the closet. You make your way to the closet. There's no denying it, the doll moved at some point since your most recent visit. That's creepy. Are those blood-stained handprints? Those look like blood-stained handprints. You can't see my mouse indicator because I had to turn it off, but I'm pointing at the ones that are on the doll and on the box. But your long-dead relative creepy doll isn't the only thing that's different. Someone was in here. Keen eye. And judging by the residue that was left behind, you're pretty sure you know the culprit. That means he was in your room. But was he there while you were out the previous day? Or did he enter while you slept, unaware, just a few feet away? Something to mull over for the rest of the day. Yeah, terrifying. That would probably make Kerry really on edge. Like, to be honest, she partnered up with Wayne in the last episode because she really was scared for her life. But she doesn't trust Wayne, and she will happily stab him in the back if she thinks it will basically get her out of the situation alive. Let's visit the possums. You open the drawers. The two possums stare up at you. They both have bread now. That's nice. Yeah, wave at the possums. You wave at them. They continue to stare up at you blankly in response. Okay. You close the drawers. This is their home now, and there's nothing you can do to change that. Now let's take a shower. You might as well take a shower before starting the rest of your day. You step into the guest bathroom and into the shower. It feels good to wash away the grime of last night's haunting, but eventually you'll have to leave this place to confront the rest of the day. In the meantime, you think about the door in the clinic. You're still drawn to it even now. You're going back there today. You're sure of it. There was basically a door in the local clinic that basically piqued her attention. Think about Oscar and Rosalina and how the spectre of Charles Saw Jr. has left them without a home and work, which is true. Think about the afterlife. It's undeniable real at this point, and what you've seen is terrifying. That's also true. Think about Stella running off last night. Hopefully she's just sleeping in. You don't really care about the girl. Think about those two girls still buried in the horrible mine. It was either you or them. Think about Duke and the image of him lying there, slumped against a tree with half his head blown off. Yeah, Kerry is starting to get like a bit of a long rap sheet at this point. Oh, she would deny ever being there, scrape feverishly, trying to scrape the memories from your skin if they are part of the dirt that coats you. Think about Selby's warning, the worst is yet to come. Think about Wayne, whatever he will ever. Think about Wayne and wherever you're ever truly alone. Think about someone special. Think about finally being out of this hellhole and safe in your own bed. Probably going to be thinking about Wayne and if you're ever truly alone at this point, considering that we know he's rummaged. Kerry knows he's been rummaging for her room. You think about Wayne and whatever you're ever truly alone. You're done here. You turn off the faucet and dry yourself off. Let's head downstairs. It's time to face your cousin. She's not here, but it looks like she left a note on the counter. Had to run, the librarian needed a new house, so I'm giving him the keys to the Maxwell place. And the Niners decided to stage a strike today of all days, so I won't be around. I know there's no point asking you not to do anything reckless, but I'm asking anyway. Be back later, call if you get into trouble, Tabitha. So the miners have gone on strike. Interesting. Time to figure out the rest of your day. Let's grab a PB&J. I personally prefer a fried breakfast or a bowl of cereal myself, but I am a Cornishman, so we tend to have slightly heartier fares. Right. And if Stella's missing in action, who knows when you get the chance to eat. You make yourself a PB&J in anticipation of the long day ahead of you. And that's that. Head to town. It's time to head to town. You head to the front door and begin to trek to the town below. The sun shines down through a thin layer of clouds, illuminating a path in the watery grey light. Keen-eyed, glimpses of pale figures dot your periphery. You haven't seen ditchlings in the middle of the day before, they're getting bolder. As you can see, on our left and our right, you can see them hiding in the brush. Horrible little things. If you guys are interested, though, if you go to, I believe it's controls, you can, let's see, where is it? Hide user interface. So if we press H, we can hide our interface for a second, and you can see just all the horrible things lurking in the woods that Kerry is basically having to walk through. It's pretty terrifying. Alright, here. As you continue to trek to town, you pause to stare over the mountain ranges beyond the hollow, contemplating the world blissfully unaware of the danger threatening the citizens of this tiny town. That's very Appalachian mountain range, though. If what I've been able to tell, it's sort of like they have the name the Smoky Mountains, and it's like you can be like cut off from civilization. I thought it would be a nice, interesting place to visit, I must admit. The world outside feels less real with each passing day, as the strange reality of what's happening in the Scarlet Hollow gently uproots what you've always taken to be the truths of our world. Your everyday worries seem distant, overshadowed by the fear and dread that hasn't stopped building up since the moment you stepped off that bus. Yeah, Kerry didn't really want to come in the first place. It isn't long until your journey to the estate is over and you once again find yourself on the main street of Scarlet Hollow. Kerry, you've made it down the hill in one piece, thank God, says Kanika. I didn't realise there were so many ditchlings, those ditchling things around, or I would have driven up to get you. Can't believe they're outside during the day. It feels wrong. How are you doing? She inquires. Much better now that I'm with you. That's a flirt opposite, but Kerry's really not interested in Kanika. Mostly worried about Stella right now. I'll feel better. We find her bad. Yeah, bad, excited. Mostly I can't wait to find out what horrors we'll witness today. I'm keeping it together, you. Not feeling much of anything right now. How about you? Doesn't matter how I feel, we've got work to do, say nothing. Let's just go with bad. Yeah, Kerry's ain't gonna lie. Bad, you say? I feel that. I'm also bad, says Kanika. Kind of feels like I got crushed by a steamroller or something. I would figured it was from all that ghost possession stuff, but I wasn't feeling great yesterday either, so Mum is convinced it's a cold. She's got me on a strict tea regime now. Maybe she's onto something. I do feel a little more alive after drinking about a litre of the stuff. I'm at least well enough to go looking for Stella. A lot of exploration options. Yeah, Kerry doesn't really care about Kanika or her well-being, to be honest. So to go and see your mum at some point, maybe she'll finally set some light on things. Yeah, like, also, if I remember, Kerry had, like, a rather sort of, like, sharp discussion with Sylvie. And Sylvie was like, oh yeah, come over, have some tea, we'll chat, like, and it's like, okay, you know more than you're letting on, I can see that. Let's go with the obvious, the ghost still in the library. I have no idea, says Kanika, and I don't think anyone should ever try to get a look, especially not to you. Who knows what might happen if that thing has so much as catches a whiff of scarlet blood. Let's go with this one. Is someone manning the general store while we go looking for Stella? Mum and Miles can deal for another day while we go looking for Stella. This is important. Not that the store isn't, but if something happened to her and I was spending my time minding the register, I don't think I could live with that, says Kanika. Yeah, let's go with ghosts. So ghosts, huh? Yeah, ghosts, says Kanika. I don't know about you, but I'm currently staving off a massive existential crisis about the state of matter and what being alive means. Let's go with any idea why Stella was so upset. Being possessed seemed awful, but she was the only one that ran off. Yeah, like Kerry doesn't care about that. Mr. Skeptical, not going to be the better explanation for what happened last night. Ghosts are real and they hate me personally. Yeah, that's not something that Kerry. Misinformation is destroying me. I wonder if it means there's heaven and hell. If there's an afterlife, we should probably figure out who was right about it, shouldn't we? Let's see. Yeah, that's what this information is destroying me. Like, Kara's like, there's ghosts. Holy moly, there's ghosts. This information is destroying me. Same here, buddy. At this point, I'd much rather it turned out to be a town-wide gas leak from the mines than I could leave town and return to normal world where there weren't any creepy ghosts or ghosts prowling around, or creepy ghouls or ghosts prowling around. Still, everyone experienced the same thing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we should probably just operate under the assumption that ghosts are real from here on out. Let's just do with this one. We could always just chill, yeah. We could always just chill. I'm sure Stella will be fine, you say. As appealing as that sounds, as appealing as that sounds, says Kanika, I don't think I'll be able to chill knowing she's out there somewhere possibly eaten alive by ditchlings or whatever. They're only supposed to be like harbors of misfortune. I don't think they're supposed to be eating people. But they do seem to be implanting larvae into them. We don't have to go tromping around the woods right now, and we probably shouldn't anyway, but we should at least ask around, so I feel like I've done what I can. Yeah, like, Kerry doesn't care about these two. She doesn't care about really getting answers out of Sylvie. She just wants to leave. And, she doesn't care about Kanika's well-being. Let's just say nothing. We might as well start by checking a house. Let's go. Yeah. Like, Kerry really doesn't want to do this. Okay, let's go to Stella's house. Let's check in on Oscar and Rosalina. They should be at the old Maxwell place. Let's check out the diner. We should go to the mines. We should check out for church. I suppose to get tea with your mum today. Maybe we should still have some ideas. Yeah, let's just go to Stella's house. Okay, let's go to Stella's house. Definitely. I probably should have done that before getting you to come all the way down here. To be honest, I was scared of wandering off by myself just in case I ran into any other horrors from beyond the veil. It'd be great if it turns out to be nothing and she's just asleep in bed. You make your way towards Stella's house. Kanika knocks anxiously on the door. It creaks open. Kenai, the house is quiet. The world outside muffled as you take a cautious step over the threshold into the muttered air of the living room. No excitable pug rushes to greet you at the door, and you have a feeling that Stella isn't going to emerge from the shadows to sleepily greet you. Street smarts. This doesn't look like a break-in. It looks like somebody left the door open. Stella or someone else was in a hurry when they left. She's dead. Stella's dead, and it's all my fault. I'm not from around here. Is it normal for people to leave their doors open? Yeah, let's just do that. I'm not from around here. Is it normal for people to leave their doors open? Unlocked, yes. Hanging open? No way. This isn't normal, says Kanika. We should go in, right? Screw going in there. Let's just get the cops. Enter Stella's house. No, let's do the screw going in there. Let's just get the cops. Yeah, let's just do that one. You've met Scarlet Hollow's finest, says Kanika, and you still want to leave this up to them? As unsettling as the door situation is, we can talk to the cops after we've seen what's inside. I try not to involve Scarlet Hollow's finest unless it's absolutely necessary. I wouldn't trust them to detect their way out of a paper bag. To be honest, that's true. They do seem rather incompetent and rather focused on somehow blaming me for the accidental and completely unrelated shooting that was in the woods. Kanika steps forward, crossing the threshold into Stella's house. Kenai, aside from the corner of the room dedicated to Gretchen, Stella's house almost feels like a museum, everything organised with a sort of tiredness you wouldn't expect from someone as rough and tumble as Stella, and only a handful of objects feel like they belong to her. Yeah, you can see there's pairs of old shoes, there's like some dog toys, pictures on the wall. And it's actually, that plant's grown a lot because those are basically like saplings that you can take off and plant. So that thing has been really left unattended. Whatever happened to Stella, it doesn't look like it happened here. Okay, nothing unusual so far. This is a perfectly normal living room. No blood or whisker, not even a tipped over lamp. That's good. Investigate the kitchen. Stella's kitchen is slightly messy. A couple of cabinets are hanging open, and a loaf of bread sits on the counter by a used butter knife. The crust of the bread has gone somewhat stale, about as much as you'd expect from being left overnight. Whoever left it here left many hours ago. Let's go with that. It's a little messy, but it doesn't look like anything violent happened here. It's possible she came home, grabbed some food and left in a hurry, right? Maybe she had a panic attack after being possessed and stopped by at home to make a snack before running off to cry somewhere. That might not sound rational, but that's absolutely in character for her. Honestly, it's a relief to think that might be all that happened. A panic attack is much more manageable than rotting ghouls or parasitic doughboys, but still doesn't tell us where she was going. Yeah, investigate Stella's room. Like, Carrie's gonna poke around. Like, she basically doesn't care about people's privacy. You make your way down the hall to what you assume to be Stella's room. She's not there, though it's a little untidy, the usual sort of untidiness that accumulates when someone doesn't often have guests in their bedroom, but there aren't any signs of violence. You do notice, though, that her jacket is nowhere in sight, it isn't in her closet, and it wasn't on the coat rack in the other room. Yeah. Stella's jacket's gone. The Letterman one. It wasn't on the rack in the other room, and it's not here. She didn't have it yesterday, you say. Okay, I'm sold. Between this and the kitchen, she must have come home and last night. Yeah, like Kerry's got to snoop on the computer. You got to check Stella's computer. I'm not sure we should be snooping on her computer. Isn't that an invasion of privacy? Nika, what if there's a clue you're missing it? What if we don't find Stella and it's all because we don't snoop on her computer? If Stella didn't want us to snoop, she wouldn't have gone missing. I don't make the rules. Okay, but if she's been gossiping about us to all my friends, look, I know it's an invasion of privacy, but we've got to do whatever it takes to find her. Let's see if there's a password protected before we make a fuss about it. If it isn't the password, it's most likely she wants us to snoop. You're no fun, but fine, we won't snoop around on Stella's computer. Okay, you're right, probably isn't anything helpful anyway. Let's go. Let's go with that. Let's see if it's password protected before we make a fuss about it. If there wasn't the password, it's almost like she wants us to snoop. You snap back. You wake up, her computer, no, not password protected. Oh my god, Stella, you're a YouTuber. How is your computer not password protected? Kanika sighs. I'll just be over there, standing in the corner, not looking over your soda. Let me know if you find anything. Stella's desktop is horrifically cluttered, and there's simply too many files and folders to fit on her monitor. They overlap each other in a chaotic, multi-layered display. I don't know what I expected to see here, but it definitely wasn't this. How does she even get anything done? Street smarts. Look for something interesting. You scan through the folders and the files and the file names on Stella's desktop, looking for anything that seems like it might be interesting. One folder catches your eye. Boring tax stuff. You're no fool, you've seen this folder before. You have this folder on your own computer. Boring tax stuff never contains boring tax stuff. For that matter, it never contains anything related to taxes, and its contents are never boring. Open the folder. You open the folder, you're surprised to find it contains a careful mapped out diagram of the Scarlet Hollow mines, including holes in the fences and areas with low visibility. That also looks like the mansion plan as well, I suppose. Is it the mansion plan? The map in the top left-hand corner of the screen, so I'm pointing at it with a mouse, realising my mouse isn't going to be displayed in the recording. But yeah, that looks like the mansion plan. There's also a handful of photos of Stella and Tabitha together as teenagers. Tabitha wears an uncharacteristic grin, an authentic, joyful smile, and Stella's eyes are somehow bright, less tired. Both of them seem to be living in a happier time. Check her search history. You check Stella's search history. She hasn't visited any websites since Tuesday night. If she came home after last night's incident, she didn't touch her browser. Her search history is almost entirely work-related, a furious series of queries about various monsters and cryptids that might fit the profiles of ditchlings. That's that. Check her open tabs. It could take you all day to count the number of open tabs in Stella's browser. So numerous are her tabs, you can't see a single icon. A sea of rounded, featureless triangles from Windows Edge to Windows Edge. Her most recent open tab is a post on Uncle Carl's Bigfoot Farm, a forum for cryptozoology enthusiasts. The post in question is titled "Something Big's Happening in Scarlet Hollow." Everyone, Was out chasing a skunk ape sighting the other day, and I found these weird little guys. My friend's mum says there's something called ditchlings, but I never heard of them before. Anyone have any good leads? Camera isn't shaky enough, this is totally staged, said the bride of Bigfoot. Moth Stan, clean-footed and some sort of cryptid nobody's heard except for your friend's mum. The only thing I've seen when I'm Google ditchlings is some city in England. Thought you were legit. Lucky stars. Guys, since when did high quality footage count as anything other than actual evidence? Those things are terrifying. Gary, since every low budget horror movie started doing guerrilla marketing, I smell an ARG. I'm hilarious, I've got a ton of extra footage. I'm serious. Hidden Appalachian, I'm serious, I've got a ton of extra footage. Look at what they've been doing to the animals in town. They apparently have some sort of bad omen like Mothman. Okay, I'm listening. I love me a Mothman, says Mothstan. I believe you, says Lucky Stars. Lucky you're falling right into her lap. I don't trust YouTubers, they're entertainers, not scientists. Sick. Thread continues into the next day. Hey, okay, so 1, this isn't an ARG, I would never, and 2, you're not going to believe this, but we went into an abandoned mine last night to investigate things, and I'm pretty sure we found some Tommy knockers. Listen to this knocking we managed to catch on tape. There's a link to an audio file called Tommy Knockers Real. Just because you put the word real in your file name doesn't mean they're real, says Gary. 2 supernatural events back to back. This is so fake. I can't believe I brought into that River Runner hype. You're so full of it. YouTubers are always going to sell out to big indie horror. This is kidnapped by aliens all over again, says Mothstan. Also, lol. Doughy white things are now loud popping noises. This is definitely an ARG. Did you sell out to Pillsbury? Stop cyberbullying her, or I'm going to call the mods, says Lucky Stars. Locking this thread and giving anyone a 7-day ban. No cyberbullying and no self-promo, says Uncle Carl. The thread ends. Right, this is a waste of time. Let's get out of here. Phew, good, says Kanika. Right. I'd love to see someone's room before they've had time to clean up. For company, it's a neat little snapshot, you know. It sure looks like a room. Any thoughts? It's messy. Don't think there's was a struggle in here. Don't think there's any clues here. Let's go with... Yeah, let's go with that. It's messy. Do you think there was a struggle in here? This isn't a mess. This is tidy chaos. And it's what her room's been like for pretty much the entire time I've known her. The only thing that's changed is the computer getting a lot fancier, says Kerry. So says Kanika. And she still does those chalkboard wire things. She loves putting string on there. I don't think they actually mean anything, but they're more for decoration anyhow. Right, let's have that one. Okay, I don't think we're going to find much else here. Let's move on. So she's probably come home last night, but she left the door open and didn't tell anyone where she was going. I thought I was overreacting. This morning I thought she'd just been sleeping in or something. I can't believe she's actually missing. We're going to the cops. I know they probably won't actually do anything, but we should see if we can get them to start looking for her before we go anywhere else. Right, so we can go explore. Yeah, let's go. We'll make sure the police know it's still missing. Check out Oscar. Okay, blah blah blah. So it's basically back to our options where we want to go next. Yeah, let's just go to the police. Like, Kerry doesn't want to do anything with this, really, and but like just throw the matter at the police and then run a mile. Yeah, let's go. We should make sure the police know Stella's missing. Just in case they can't point finger of blame at me. Police station is exactly what you expect from a town the size of Scarlet Hollow. It smells strongly of coffee and faintly of aged furniture and paper, and the general tidiness speaks of a department that doesn't get much of anything done. But you're also not alone here. You enter to find a worried Beau standing between you and the officer behind the desk. Big Betty wasn't just a pumpkin, Deputy Franklin, sir. She was going to be a prize winner Raising her was the last thing me and my daddy did together. She's important to our family. The Scarlet Hollow police are spread pretty thin at the moment, says Deputy Franklin. Young man, any property dispute will have to wait, if indeed there is a dispute to be had. Are you sure it wasn't some animal that took your vegetable? Sir, you know Mr. Tremaine thinks that land belongs to him. He probably thought Big Betty was his to take, says Bo. He ain't coming to his door, so for all I know he might as well... So for all I know he might be all the way to the state fair by now with our pumpkin. Ain't there something you can do about it? Franklin seems to turn to you as you enter, though his impenetrable stare shade makes it impossible to judge if he's looking really. Well, if it ain't Kerry, we should lock you up for the stunt you pulled last night. Calling the emergency line as a joke is illegal. Yeah, that's sort of street smarts. Listen up, Franklin. We've got a missing person on our hands. Stella hasn't been seen since yesterday, and the last anyone saw, she was in a state of distress. You speak with complete authority in your voice. Franklin's glasses are impenetrable, but you can imagine the eyes behind them metaphorically scanning you like a machine. A missing person? Apologies, Mr. Calloway, but I'm going to have to handle this first, says the deputy. Deputy Franklin makes his way back to his desk, pulling out a few forms before returning to the front. If one of you would fill out these, please. I can take care of that. Thank you so much for taking this seriously. Mike, I know Stella has a tendency to go on hiking trips, but this feels different. She can't be in her right mind going back out there into the woods after what happened to my daddy. I'm praying for her and make sure Mama does too. Yeah, like, aren't you sure we can start looking right now? She shouldn't be off on her own when there's so many ditchlings around here. Kerry doesn't care what happens to Stella, really. Thanks for taking this seriously. Come on, there's got to be more you can do than just give us papers. Why did you even come here? This was pointless. Yeah, none of these actually really matter. Kerry doesn't really care. She just wants to report to the police and leave. Let's go with this. Why did we even come here? This was pointless. We're filing a report. The Scarlet Hollow police are doing all we can, says Deputy. We had to do our due diligence, and now we have. At least there's paperwork being filed. It's better than I expected, honestly. Yeah, he was the security guard for the mayor who was a dog. Where's everyone else? He's not going to say that. See, Kerry's not going to say that because that suggests he knows what happened to his dad. Let's go with... Where's everyone else? Haven't you heard? There's a nasty strike going on at the mines. Miss Scarlet asked us to try and bring the temperature down a bit, and I drew the short straw for being stuck on desk duty. Bring the temperature down, says Kerry. I'm sorry, are Earl and Dennis working for the town, or are they working for Tabitha? I'd rather not get into it this right now, Miss Forsey. Let's go with this one. Can you arrest a ghost? Yeah. Can you arrest a ghost? So long as we can handcuff it, I don't see why not. Does the ghost have hands? Let's say no. But then I probably can't. Why do you ask? Just a hypothetical question, mutters Kanika. Yeah. Kerry isn't going to ask. She doesn't care about the deputy. She's not going to ask about the dad because she wasn't there. She doesn't know what happened to his father. Even though she was, and she's never going to admit it. She doesn't care about some bloke stealing his pumpkin, and she's not going to accuse them all of being in a cult because, like, yes, accuse the police in America who have guns if they're part of a secretive killer cult. Never a good look. It looks like you're busy. We'll be on our way. Kanika hands the completed report back to Deputy Franklin. Thank you, ma'am. I'll get this filled right away. Good luck out there. I hope Miss Richmond is alright, and you'll find her soon, says Bo. Silently walk out the precinct. As you make your way back towards the door, the deputy calls out to you. Best keep your nose clean out there, Kerry. Try to stay out of trouble. Well, at least we filed a report. Still, I guess finding Stella's going to be mostly up to us. Where to next? I think this is going to be a good point to end it, folks. It's nice to be back in the Hollow. It's been a little while since I've played the game. Just so many other games to play, and Baldur's Gate 3 is really eating up my time between recordings. But yes, we'll leave off here with Kerry and Kanika, who don't really get on. Just sort of seeing what is going on. We could check at the diner, but if they're doing a strike, they might be there. We could check at the mines to see if your cousin has been, to see if Tabitha's seen her. We could go check on the church, though it's unlikely that she's been there. Then we had to go and see Kanika's mother for tea, which is fantastic. But that's all for next time, folks. I've been Cornish-knight. This has been Scarlet Hollow of the Darkest Timeline, and I shall see you all again next time. Goodbye.